Hello guys! Do you believe that the success of Jungkook's biggest solo tour in the United States was not entirely determined by himself? Then, what if one of the other BTS members, who was barely visible on stage, became the emotional key figure that made the entire concert series feel deeper, more personal, and even more heartfelt? Who would have thought that Jimin, while not always performing blatantly, played the most vital role in building the emotional foundation of the tour? This question not only puzzled music industry observers, but also shook the ARMY community globally. In any solo concert tour, generally the absolute spotlight will be on the main artist. However, in the case of Jungkook's tour of the United States, there is an anomaly that is slowly beginning to unfold through various behind-the-scenes footage, testimonies of the crew, as well as analysis from a number of Korean and international media. A network of previously unreadable narratives began to form a pattern. Jimin's presence behind the scenes, while not immediately appearing in the limelight, had changed the way the concert was perceived, received, and remembered by audiences. One internal source, who declined to be named, a technical staff member from the tour's production company, described Jimin's role as an emotional driver working in silence. Without him, this tour would not have felt so warm. There was a silence she filled, even when she wasn't performing on stage. Jungkook's energy becomes doubly stable when Jimin is backstage. He said in an exclusive interview that went viral in the fan community, the issue of Jimin's involvement began to be discussed since Jungkook's solo tour entered his third city in America. On social media, ARMY began to observe the presence of silhouettes or fleeting sightings of a figure believed to be Jimin in the corner of the stage or technical area of the concert. In some videos uploaded by fans, a person with Jimin's signature gait can be seen standing behind the stage's LED screen, as if watching every moment of the show intensely. Initially, this was considered a conspiracy theory of the fans. But within a few weeks, a host of evidence began to surface that corroborated its veracity. A 2-minute video widely circulated in the Japanese ARMY community shows a brief interaction between Jungkook and someone backstage before the encore. Jungkook, in a low voice, said, "Hyung, thank you for staying here. I don't know what to do without you." The voice that could be heard replying only briefly replied, "I'm always here." Although the speaker's face was not visible, the fans recognized the voice as Jimin's. AI voice recognition used by some fan-based channels even corroborates this assumption with voice matching results of more than 90%. This prompted the public to dig deeper. If it's true that Jimin was backstage during Jungkook's solo tour, what exactly was his role? Does it provide only moral support? Or is there a more structural, more organized, and deeper role emotionally? The answer to the question began to emerge when one of the creative crew from HYB gave an indirect statement in an interview with the Korean dispatch media. Without mentioning his name explicitly, he said, "On this tour, someone from BTS's extended family helped a lot in the preparation of emotional transitions between concert segments. He's not part of the main production team, but his presence fills a gap that no one can replace." Looking at the structure of Jungkook's tour performances, it is clear that the concert contains a number of emotional transition segments that are very deep and unusual in a typical K-pop solo concert. From the touching visual projections, the story-like arrangement of the song, to the personal interactions displayed through the giant screen, everything creates the illusion that the concert is not just a performance, but an open acknowledgement of a Jungkook who is walking his personal path in the world of music. One of the most striking moments was when Jungkook performed the song, "Hate You," in New York City, where before the song began, the screen displayed a shocking quote, "I hated myself in the past, but someone said that I should learn to embrace it." The sentence did not come from any song, but rather was allegedly a personal message from someone close. After the concert ended, many ARMY suspected the quote came from a private conversation between Jungkook and Jimin, because in a 2023 interview, Jimin once said a similar phrase to fans in the context of discussing mental health. Furthermore, a source from internal HYB confirmed that some parts of the show, especially the reflective segments in the middle of the concert, were conceptualized along with BTS members who are very close emotionally to Jungkook. Although HYB did not name names, industry analysts were quick to attribute the statement to Jimin. the only BTS member to publicly state that he accompanied Jungkook during the tour's preparation period. What makes this even more moving and dramatic is the fact that Jimin's role was never formally announced. There were no promotions, no live broadcasts, no social media posts hinting at his involvement. He works in silence, accompanying from behind the scenes, building an emotional atmosphere in the performance of someone he considers like his own brother. A devotion that is not recorded in the poster, but is felt in every whisper of tone and beat of the stage lights. Does this mean that Jimin unofficially served as the emotional director of the concert? Or maybe more than that, a colleague filling in the emotional gaps in Jungkook's deeply personal solo journey? This is a question that until now has not been answered directly by both parties, both Jimin and HYB. But the public did not remain silent. ARMY, as always, moved quickly. On various forums and platforms, a hashtag Thank You Jimin Appreciation campaign aimed at acknowledging her silent role in the tour began. Some of the fanbase even raised funds to display a special appreciation billboard in Times Square, New York, not for Jungkook, but for Jimin, as a tribute to his contributions behind the scenes. This phenomenon becomes a mirror of a much deeper dynamic in the relationship between the members of BTS, especially when they start the individual career phase. Many assume that solo means alone. In this case, however, solo turns out to be built on a collective bond, with Jimin as a silent crutch that gives meaning to every step Jungkook takes on stage. Then what is the meaning of all this? Is this just a form of solidarity? Or is this a sign that BTS members' solo careers will never truly escape each other's shadow? And how should the public assess such an invisible role? Is virtual applause enough? Or is it time for the industry to acknowledge the emotional roles in the production process of a show of this magnitude? The question now is no longer simply, is Jimin present? But rather, to what extent does Jimin's presence shape the emotional identity of Jungkook's US tour? The facts that are slowly emerging from behind the stage indicate that Jimin's presence is not only symbolic. He wasn't just a traveling companion, he was part of the emotional framework of the tour. It works as a crutch for the narrative, filling the silent space between the lights and the cheers of the audience. And most importantly, it regulates the emotional pulse that feels alive in every appearance. A source from HYB's creative team, who did not want to be identified, explained that the tour's emotional curation process underwent many revisions ahead of Jungkook's departure to the US. There was a moment where we had to cut out an entire segment and rearrange the flow of the concert, he said. Someone from BTS' internal team provided important input on personal emotion and how Jungkook should convey that authentically without losing artistic cohesion. When asked if the person was Jimin, the source did not dispute, simply replying, "He's the one who understands Jungkook the most, emotionally and spiritually." Another small snippet corroborating the allegations came from a local radio interview in Los Angeles, where the tour began. When a presenter asked Jungkook, "Do you feel alone in starting this?" Jungkook replied, "Not entirely. I have someone who always calms me down before going on stage." But when asked to explain who the person was, Jungkook simply smiled and replied, "He knows who he is." In the highly structured and media-strategic world of the K-pop music industry, vague statements like these often hold deeper meaning. And when viewed from the pattern of interaction between BTS members, it is not difficult to guess that the character is Jimin. Jimin's presence on Jungkook's tour is also confirmed by visual evidence. A number of photos shared by the production staff showed a person with Jimin's features sitting behind a mixer table, wearing a hoodie and a mask. Although his face is not explicitly visible, his posture and wrists, which are known to be very distinctive among fans, reinforce the suspicion that Jimin is indeed present, even active in the technical aspects of the show.